Good morning, everybody. This is Jaret Lansford. Let me show you what we've got going on there. That is not what I want to show you. Let me get that graphic out of here. There we go. We are looking at some crashes that are taking place as we are heading through our morning, impacting our morning drive. And we do have a little bit of some drizzle, maybe part of the reason that it is very patchy in nature, but we do have temps that are below the freezing mark, so keep an eye on how that's impacting things. Let me show you where a few of these crashes are. And we're going to start on Giles, where if you look in the distance here, we do have a crash that has impacted southbound travel. There's some flashing lights right around here or so. And that is slowing traffic quite a bit as you're heading southbound on Giles right near I-80. So here is the area that I'm talking about. And so it is right as you're getting south of Harrison, in between there and the I-80 interchange where we have this crash in place. So watch for that being an area where you could be looking at some slowdowns present. And we've been looking at a number of different issues on Harrison. This is a different crash that we've been monitoring, and we still had some emergency crews on scene right around 132nd and Harrison this morning with that crash. Still very slow in both directions. Be mindful that you're going to need some extra time to get through that stretch. Another crash that just came in a little bit ago, also on Harrison. We're going to go a little further to the east on this one. This is as you're getting right near this area, and you can see how much traffic is flaring up. This is around 45th in Harrison with a crash that is in place. I'll make that graphic for you here real quick. So there it is, 45th and Harrison. Redo that. There we go. So it's right near 45th and Harrison where we have this crash. And you can see how Harrison is also quite slow in this area as well. So it is a bit of a struggle at this point with what we are seeing on our roads. Let me show you what we've got going on wide view, give you the overall picture of the commute. You know, so we've got a number of roads that are pretty slow. That includes as you're making your way along a few different stretches of Dodge, particularly right around 72nd back toward the 680 interchange with some delays there. We have another area that extends from about 144th back to 168th with some delays. And I think we will take a look at our 144th and Dodge camera, give you an idea of how things are moving in this area. So you can see it's a little slow. It is moving, though, as you're heading eastbound. A lot of the more sizable delays just off to the west of this as you're approaching this area. So something else we've been watching this morning is a little bit of some drizzle that's been trying to come down. And when you look at our visibility map, you're going to notice that we do have some small reductions that are showing up in a couple of spots. That's where we're trying to pull some of this down to the ground. And you can especially see north of the metro. You get closer to Norfolk, West Point. That's where you have the brighter white shades indicating the visibility being reduced. But we can also use this not necessarily as an indication of fog this time, but as an indication of where there's some drizzle that's falling. And this is noteworthy because when I pull up the overlay of our traffic maps with the temperature, you're going to notice that we have a lot of places where we are below freezing with the road temps and the air temps. So any areas that have that, we Likely won't develop widespread issues, but we do have to watch for a few slick spots that could develop. So as you're heading out and about, going to be a good idea to just be prepared for maybe some occasional, especially on bridges, areas where there's maybe a slick spot or two this morning. Seeing quite the delay showing up there on the JFK. I'm going to work on getting you a shot for that stretch that we can watch. So let's look at what we've got going on. It's particularly as you're getting around the stretch here. L. Heading northbound. So there's the current view of what's going on there on the JFK with those delays. A little slow there heading northbound. All right, let's go back to that crash on Giles. And this is as you are in the approach to I-80, between Harrison and I-80. And when we pull up this camera shot, it's not going to be very apparent at first as you're looking, but if you look closely, there's a few flashing lights right in this circle that I'm drawing. And that's where we have our issue. So the right lane blocked as you're heading southbound on Giles. You need to stay left, be ready for delays as you're going between Harrison and I-80. That one of the crashes that we have. Do a quick look at where we have some of those issues once again. And we can correct the label here. This is not on the ramp, but before you get to the ramp on Giles. So there we have our correct information. You can see that that is southbound on Giles, approaching I-80 with that crash right lane blocked. Something else I want to point out here, look at how slow things are just to the north of this. Look at all those delays as you're making your way along Harrison. I want to consider a different route if you can. Not a lot of great options. You could maybe make your way to Giles, and that might be a better route through Millard. Q Street's not doing a lot better. So probably the best advice is just to leave plenty of time if you are driving through this part of Millard. We did have a prior crash at 132nd and Harrison, and it is still showing quite slow around this area. Though some of those delays are eastbound nearing Giles, and that could be connected with this crash as people try to turn right to get to I-80 and run into that blocked lane. So there's a lot of traffic getting slowed down in this part of the metro. You want to plan accordingly if you're heading toward there. Also don't want to leave this one out. 45th and Harrison, a crash that showed up near 45th and Harrison, I should say, with that one. But delays that are showing up both directions near this part of the metro as well. So Harrison being kind of our problem spot, Harrison and Giles this morning. Here's your overall picture of the traffic map. And you can see that, zoom in just a little bit tighter, you do have a number of roads that have delays on them, including Center with quite a few delays near the industrial split on both sides of that. Dodge slowing down a fair bit around 168th to 180th. You've also got a stretch of Dodge between 72nd back to 680 that is quite slow. Blair High showing delays approaching 680 as you are making your way eastbound. And then don't want to leave out the JFK with some pretty sizable delays in the approach to L Street and then back down toward Cornhusker. Haven't heard a report of a crash in that area, but it is certainly looking quite slow around that area. So I think with that, we will start wrapping up this live stream, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. You want to watch some of those bridges, overpasses, may have just a couple of slick spots. I don't think it's a widespread issue, but you do have some pretty widespread delays that are showing up on a non-related note. So use some caution as you are making your way about your commute and leave plenty of time as you go through that morning drive. We'll keep you posted. We've got another update coming up here in just about 5 minutes on First Alert 6, so be tuning in for that to get the absolute latest on how our commute is going. And I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. Stay safe for your drive.